pleasant morning, afternoon, and evening to all of you guys, wherever you are in the world. I am Nick, and I'm your PARA Youth Ambassador and also Membership Executive at PARA. So today, I would like to welcome you to our PARA Youth webinar entitled Enhancing Tourism Experience Through Technology in collaboration with Higher Colleges of Technology, LPU Manila, and University of Queensland. I'm very excited for this webinar as we have invited three special guest speakers. So we have Ms. Jeong, Senior Marketing Manager of Incheon Tourism Organization, Mr. Melvin Ng, Director of Partnership in APAC of Airalo, and Ms. Michelle Gay, Director of Innovation at Quilt.AI. So today's webinar is an hour session starting with insightful presentations by our special guest speakers, followed by a panel discussion and live Q&A. Before we go on, allow me to do some housekeeping announcements. Please use the Q&A function on the bottom of your Zoom screen. So if you look closely on the bottom of your Zoom screen, you'll be able to see the Q&A function. Please use this function to if you have any questions for our guest speakers. Please do not ask any questions in the chat because it kind of gets hard to keep track of the questions in the chat. The chat function is actually there for you to introduce yourself to the group and to introduce yourself to the guest speakers and really connect with each other while we are doing the panel discussion or throughout the session. So without further ado, let me introduce our first guest speaker. For our first guest speaker, may I introduce to you Ms. Jeong from Incheon Tourism Organization. She's the Senior Marketing Manager at ITO. So let me spotlight her for everyone to see. And so yeah, Hani, can you say a few words for our audience and share with us your presentation? Oh, you're muted, Hani, so you can unmute yourself.
Yep. Hello. Okay. Can you see my slides?
Yep, we can see it.
Okay. Let me put it bigger. Oops. Okay. Should start from the first slide. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Hani. My English name is Hani, and I'm working for Incheon Tourism Organization, which is based in the Incheon city of Korea. Just in case you don't know about Incheon, Incheon is Korea's third largest city, and it's renowned for the Incheon International Airport. Today, I was invited for sharing my experience on my smart tourism project that I've been working on over the last 3 years. And I'm very excited since this project means a lot to me, and it brought a huge change, not only in my career, but my whole life. So let me show you how it changed my life. So before the project, I was totally a digital outsider. I had no interest at all about the technology. What Tesla and Google was doing was like from a different world to me. Even for my mobile phone, I just used them for communication purposes, or maybe sometimes for taking pictures. But after participating in this project, mixing with IT frontier corporations or data professional system developers, I finally realized that world has changed and I should follow the trends. So that's when I started studying smart tourism for my PhD and applying the concept of smart tourism in everything that I did. And what was the result of it? I had a brain test recently, as you see in the slides. When I was young, I only used my right side of the brain most of the time. That refers to like creativity or intuition. But after studying technology, data, algorithms, I came to use both of my brains equally. Isn't this cool? I just shared my personal experience before the actual presentation to encourage you that if such digital outsider like me did it, you guys can do a lot better. But what you only need is to be open to the change and make efforts to accept it, to make it yours. So back to my topic, let me share with you my experience in the smart tourism and why it is so important. So what brought the need for the smart tourism city project in Korea? The tourism industry was hit hard by COVID, And just as it changed all of our lives, it also brought a huge change in the tourism industry. Yeah, first of all, safety became the priority, and the form of travel shifted from group to individual, thereby the personalized services became more important than ever. So in this line of trends, the Korean government turned their eyes on making smart tourism cities to cope with such digitalization. The aim of this project was to make a smart tourism destinations, which is defined as a city that provides convenient and differentiated services by grafting cutting-edge smart technologies with tourist services. But what you have to focus on here is a big data. So when these tourist services are provided, their data are collected automatically. And by analyzing this data, you can use them again for improving the services or infrastructure of the city. So that's how the smart tourism city cycle works. In here, the smart tourism city incorporates those 5 smart tourism factors or technologies, and these criteria were the basic requirements of the project. So to put all these technologies together in one platform was our mission here. And what are the 5 smart tourism factors? Smart experience like virtual reality, media facet, holograms, smart convenience like coupons, kiosk, Wi-Fi, smart services like translation services or chatbot inquiries, smart mobilities like Airalo navigation, smart mobility reservations, and lastly, smart platforms like AI or the big data. So in order to make this integrated smart tourism platform, Incheon, as the first city in Korea, took off making a smart tourism district from 2020 to 2021, which was about a year. And the testbed area was called Incheon Port Open Port area, which is an old town near the Incheon port. Can you guys take a guess why we chose the old town, not the downtown area for the project? We believe that this area was perfect for digitalization. Why? First, these smart services are needed more in developing area than already developed area. So services like providing tourism information based on your location or providing smart payment or the transportation are more in needs in those areas. And secondly, we believe that with the help of technology, these areas can be more attractive. For example, with the virtual reality service, we can recall or restore the history more vividly, and that can make the place more attractive or charming for the tourist. So for the project, we work with 9 private companies as a consortium, including large corporations like Tencent in China, known for WeChat, to small-sized startup companies. Each of the companies we worked together were like expert in their fields. And of course, the journey wasn't easy since there are so many people or interest parties involved in. A strong leadership and good communication skills were needed along the process. So that's when I started studying about the technology or digital to communicate better with such professional people. So in July 2021, the project was finally launched. So we created mobile application called Incheon Easy, and the data platform was set ready to collect all the data from the service users. Also, we installed some smart infrastructures for those who do not use the app. So there should be something offline to connect them with online. So we call this O2O service, offline to online. So we installed smart experience zone and Wi-Fi for internet connection. So now let me show you one by one what other services are. First is an Incheon Easy application. You can download the app in Google or Apple Store by typing Incheon Easy in a search bar. It's provided by 4 languages, Korean, English, Japanese, and Chinese, according to the language set of your mobile phone. And as its name shows, it's an application to make your travel easy and convenient by providing every services that you need from planning, during the trip, and even after the trip. The smart services include smart payment coupons, virtual reality time travel service, luggage check-in, mobility reservation, smart order that you don't have to wait in the restaurant, audio guide with gamification, and so on. And out of all these services, the main concept is to travel with your own pass, which means you can select your itinerary, and once you save it, it automatically shows you optimized way to get there and shows you what kind of services you can do based on your location. And for those who are not bothered to make your own pass, AI can recommend the pass for you by analyzing your travel preferences. I believe you guys are familiar with MBTI already, and I am a fan of MBTI actually. I ask people all the time, what's your MBTI? So just like that, Incheon Easy categorize travelers in 10 types and provide the travel recommendations according to their personal taste or preferences. So actually, I prepared how AI works in actual mobile phone. I'm sorry this is in Korean, but with a simple survey, they analyze your preference and they recommend you the best itinerary according to your needs. So here are the guidebook for you and also the map of the itinerary as well. We also added new functions here called the mobile stamp tour. So when you arrive at each point, the stamps are marked automatically by GPS. And those mobile stamp service is highly used in the festivals or events. So when you collect all your stamp, coupon is provided automatically as a reward. Next is our virtual reality service called Time Travel. So you can enjoy the history of the urban port area with the technology. So services are provided by two types, preview, which can be played anywhere, and on-site service using Airalo. So I prepared a little short video clip to show you how it works. So with your application, if you scan the ground, the Airalo map will pop up to you. And if you press the activated point, okay, the blue pin here, you can meet the historic figures from the past. And also, you can see the virtual reality services, which can compare you from the past and the present. So that's our time travel content. All right. I hope you can actually come to Incheon and see this. And each of the services are, the first, it's called Airalo Ghost Docent. So you can meet the person from the past, and what they do is just like the tour guide, they explain to you the meanings or the backgrounds of the place. So this is very popular content. And this is called the VR. And it makes you feel as if you're like standing at this time in the past, like a movie theater. So right in the middle of the historic moment. And you can also enjoy this with Oculus as well. And this is called the panoramic view. And this service can compare the landscape of the present with that of the past. So you can actually see what has been changed in the area with a very kind explanations. So not only the virtual reality to enhance your experience, Incheon Easy also makes your travel convenient. You can be connected easily with diverse transportations. And also with the Airalo navigation services, you don't have to worry about getting lost wherever you are. And we also have payment services. We are using NFC, near field communication method, which is contactless payment method. It allows users to make transactions by simply tapping the smartphone over the payment terminal. And also we have the discount coupons available for users to use in nearby restaurants or coffee shops. Also, we provide audio guide gamification. So instead of the traditional typical audio guide service, which is played once you get to the place, this is like a mission quest game with stories. So starting from the Incheon subway station, if you complete each quiz about the location, you can earn some points, which you can use as a cash in the area. So not only the Incheon Easy mobile service, but we installed 64 Wi-Fis in the area to provide the free 5G Wi-Fi services. And we also made a big data platform to collect data from mobile Wi-Fi users, data, and also telecommunication data for analyzing and visualizations. So based on the data, we can analyze like who are the visitors, what kind of services they use, and even their spendings. We believe this analyzed data can be used for like making marketing strategies or can be reflected for like tourism policy making, or else it can be used for upgrading the algorithm for more accurate personalized recommendations. So this is the sample of the data statistics abstracted from our data platform. So it can show you the status of areas of inflow, and also by geography, like how many people came to the area. And this is like a comparison with other similar attractions. So this is provided real time. So this can be used for analysis or making some marketing strategies as well. So here's our major achievements. I just summed up into 3 points. Okay, first is the app users. Okay, first, we try to activate the service to make more people use our Incheon Easy application. And as a result, the first picture is the map of South Korea, and dots here are the activation points of the application users. So you can see that not only people from Incheon or Seoul use their app, but all over Korea, even in the islands, are using our application. And secondly, we try to revive the area through digitalization. I mentioned earlier in the slides that this project area was very old town of Incheon. So what our strategy was, we formed a smart youth committee who are comprised of the entrepreneurs who have their business in the area. So we educated them and we used them as a tool for communication between us and the older generations. So they can actually persuade the old shops to become our service affiliators and so on. And lastly, we made the smart tourism packages. So especially with our virtual reality services about the history, we made an MOU with the Ministry of Education, and we made a tourism programs for the students and teachers. And since the contents of the time travel service is based on the actual history, students are enjoying a lot about the content, and many students are coming to Incheon for enjoying these smart tourism services as well. So lastly, this is our future plan. So from the start of the Incheon project, 25 smart tourism cities will be nurtured by 2020, according to 2027, according to the Korean government. And for Incheon, we will expand our service to all regions of Incheon, not only the old port area, but all regions of Incheon. And as the first smart tourism destination in Korea, we will try to keep activating the service, make better use of the data, and brand ourselves as a leading smart tourism destinations in the future. So that is our plan. And if you're planning to come to Korea, please drop by Incheon to experience our Incheon Easy application for your smart travel in the future. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing, Hani. I think that was amazing, and I am really interested to know that your brain started, your left and right brain started working all together, and
That was
it makes me want to try out the examination as well. And
you can do it.
yeah, and it's amazing how Incheon became the leader of smart tourism, because as someone who grew up in Incheon, I grew up in Incheon when I was young, and it kind of hits differently because it's where I'm from. So yeah, so thank you so much, and all the audiences, if you have any questions for Hani, reserve it for our Q&A portion. So we will also be having our panel discussion later. So please stay tuned if you guys want to learn more about the smart tourism city of Incheon. Okay, so thank you so much, Hani, for sharing. So moving on, I will invite our next guest speaker. So let us move on to Melvin. So he spent over 15 years in the tourism industry in various roles, including several senior leadership positions. He's now the Director of Partnership in APAC region at Airalo. So may I present to you Mr. Melvin Ng. So Melvin, please say a few words for our audience, and you can start your presentation Jerry, please start sharing the presentation for Melvin. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Nick. And thank you, Pata, for having me here at this Pata Youth webinar to actually share more things about how the technology is going to change and it's going to impact tourism in some way or another. So just a brief background about myself. So my name is Melvin. So I am the Director of Partnerships, taking care of the APAC region at Airalo. Prior to me joining this fantastic company, which I'll share a little bit more, I had worked in some of the other tourism companies, which includes like Four Seasons, Disney, Avia Reps, Klook, KKD, and some others. So I have been through a diverse background from the different business verticals of the tourism industry, from the tourism boards, airlines, hotels, etc. So happy to share with you more about that in this session. And also now I'm embarking on my new journey with Airalo, which is eSIM or travel eSIM, which is another business vertical that will really revolutionize the whole travel industry. So what is Airalo? So you can, next please. Yep. So the idea of eSIM, right? Or basically, I believe that most of you over here have actually traveled before in some way or another. When you travel in the pre-COVID days, probably a lot of us actually use a physical SIM card. So you probably head to the airport, buy a physical SIM card, queue up over there, and suddenly you realize that, hey, I forgot to bring, I don't have the cash, so I need to go and look for a money changer, change the cash before I can actually make the purchase of the SIM card. So after you make the purchase, you need to take out the SIM card and then change to a new SIM card. And at the end of your own journey, right, you will then dispose the SIM card. Or alternatively, you probably head to the airport to get a router. Then at the end of your trip or your business or leisure trip, right, you then have to find a shop to then return the router accordingly. So all these provided a lot of inconvenience and a lot of time wasted. So the idea of eSIM is actually to digitalize, which I'll share with you a little bit more on that. So next, please. So we're going to remove the old physical SIM cards and going to bring in you a whole new thing that's going to happen next. So there's the eSIM world. Next, please. So for us, Airalo, we are the world's first eSIM store. In fact, we are the largest in the world. We are launched in July 2019, and we are now, we have a worldwide coverage of more than 200 over countries. So what that means is that we actually work with all the different companies, the telecommunication companies in the world, and bring them on board. And then we actually have all these eSIMs to be available to the global users out there in the markets. So as you know, everybody loves to travel. Everybody needs data nowadays when they travel, in some way or another, when they look at booking your taxis, your Uber, or maybe looking for restaurants or where you go to. So data is really quite key, and it becomes a very core product or part of travel. So for us as a company, we are rated very, very highly on many user platforms. As you can see over here, we have a 4.7 or 4.5 ratings on both iOS as well as Android. So next, please. So what exactly is an eSIM, right? So like what I share with you, eSIM basically remove the requirement of having a physical SIM card. That means that before you travel, you just have to purchase this eSIM. Then you actually have a QR code. Use your phone to scan the QR code, and then you would then be able to have the eSIM installed on your phone. When you reach the destination, probably when the plane is actually moving along the tarmac, you could actually just turn on the data, and then you would then be able to access the data in your destination that you actually visit. So at the end of it, when you actually want to return back to Singapore, or sorry, return back to the destinations, your home country, so that's where you will then revert back to your original SIM card that you actually have in your phone, or maybe your eSIM in your home country. So that's how it works. Basically, it is only activated when it detects the network in that country. So with eSIM, it is environmental friendly, it is value for money, and it's super convenient because now that you have eSIM, when you reach a destination, what you have to worry about over there when you reach an airport is just about the immigration and collecting your baggage, and then you're good to go to continue your journey from there. So next, please. So how does it work? You can go to the next slide. So just like what I shared with you, you can just download the app of Airalo, purchase it, choose the destination that you want. Once you purchase it, you can actually have a QR code. Using the app itself, you can straight away just press install and immediately it'll be configured in your phone. And then when you reach the destination, you just have to activate it. If you're actually purchasing it via your computer or your laptop, then you actually have your eSIM in your account. Use your mobile phone, scan it, and then you are able to install it accordingly. Right? So very simple and very easy. So what makes us the number one in the whole industry? Next, please. So because of our scale and our size, right, and a demand from the worldwide community, we are able to offer value prices in all over the world. We have the lowest price. So imagine, right, if right now today you are heading over to US, you could easily get a 1 GB at only US $5 for valid for 7 days. So it's so value for money, right? So if you're in your home country, you probably subscribe to your roaming fees, which would cost a bomb. So you can imagine, right, the amount of savings that you have when you travel. Next, please. So this is our global coverage. Like what I shared with you earlier, we are covered in more than 200 over countries. We have 3 different business we have 3 different kind of eSIMs. We call it a local. So if you're going to a single destination, you can just buy a local eSIM. If you're going to a regional trip, so for example, if you are going to a Europe trip where you are going to cover Germany, UK, Spain, for example, in one trip, rather than buying 3 different kind of local eSIM, you could just buy a regional one. That will probably cost you again 1 GB for $5. And when you move from one country to another country, it automatically detects a network accordingly. So you don't have to worry about that. Then we also have the other one that is very good for digital nomads who are traveling a lot. That is the global eSIM, which means that this eSIM, when you actually purchase it, it's available for more than 85 countries. So depending on the package you choose, you can actually opt for the 6 months validity one that allows you to then use the eSIMs quite readily available in that sense. The fantastic thing about the other thing that I can share with you is that, let's say, for example, today I'm going to Hong Kong, and maybe I come back to Hong Kong 7 days later. 3 months later on, maybe in August or September, I'm heading back to Hong Kong again. I do not actually have to buy a new SIM card or eSIM. Basically, what I have to do is just to top up my eSIM that is currently in my phone. So it's simple, super easy, super convenient, and super easy, very, very, very friendly in that sense. Next, please. So for us, we are the number one in the world, right? So what we try to do is to ensure that we provide our users the best customer service. So eSIM as a business, as you probably will know or may not heard of, is very new. And we see a very huge trend going up because you can imagine, right? A lot of the phone nowadays, they are actually changing to be eSIM enabled. And if you look at the Apple iPhone 14, they have actually removed the physical SIM card and they actually changed it to be eSIM enabled. So we foresee that there are more phone manufacturers who would actually be designing that to be eSIM enabled. And for us, the idea is to provide the optimum customer service to our users who are new to the eSIM and may not know how to install the eSIM on their phone. So what we do is to ensure that we have the relevant FAQs, we provide the right customer service support in terms of the human touch to ensure that we help our users, our customers all over the world. So we invested a lot in terms of our customer service, where all of us, we are working everywhere in a multilingual support 24/7 to ensure that we support our customers in every way possible. So next, please. So as you can see over here, customers love us, a lot of different reviews. If you do probably a Google or a Naver search or any search on us about Airalo, you probably see a very good review about Airalo. You will probably see more of us very soon, hopefully, so that we are able to then educate more people about how fantastic this product is and how it will really change the world of travel. Next, please. So, like what I shared with you, this will be the future of travel connectivity, and we welcome you to join the revolution, join the eSIM community. You don't have to buy a physical SIM card anymore. You don't have to get a router anymore. You just have to get an eSIM. But before you actually get an eSIM, you got to make sure that your phone device is eSIM enabled. That is the only requirement. So once you are able to ensure that your phone is eSIM enabled, please join us, subscribe to Airalo, purchase an eSIM, and you will understand how convenient and easy to use for Airalo eSIM. So especially for this Pata Youth webinar, I've actually designed a special offering, a benefit, which I just shared via the chat of a promo code Pata Youth 10 to invite you guys to make use of this benefit. For those who are here, I think there's around 40, slightly more than 40 people to jump on this bandwagon and enjoy the eSIM. Right, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Melvin, for such a great presentation. I think eSIM is really the future of tourism, because I think it will make our lives a lot easier than buying physical SIMs, because the nature of the tourism industry is all about traveling to other countries. Like, we do travel domestic, but we also travel international. And what I do is I always have to buy the physical SIM, as you mentioned, or the Wi-Fi egg, the router that you mentioned. And it's really hassle to return it every time we rent it. So I think eSIM will make our lives a lot easier. And thank you for sharing, Melvin. So everyone, if you have any questions for Melvin, please put it on the Q&A function, and we'll be able to answer them during the panel discussion / live Q&A session. So thank you, Melvin. We will be moving on to our third guest speaker, Michelle. So we have Miss Michelle Gay. She's the Director of Innovation at Quilt.AI. She'll be sharing with us how data analytics is integrated in our industry. So Michelle, over to you.
Well, thank you, Nick. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle, and I'm the Director of Innovation at Quilt.AI. And I'm very excited to be speaking to all of you today. You know, at Quilt, our mission is to interpret the internet. And why do we say that? So how many of you have already reached for your phone to Google something today? You know, or what about checking your social media like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter? Or maybe it's reading some of the top news headlines this morning, or even placing an online shopping order. There's so much activity on the internet, which in turn generates so much people data online. So this data reveals very rich insight about your consumers, about categories, and even about culture. So at Quilt, you know, what we do is we design and build proprietary AI models to analyze all this digital data, to translate this data into actionable insights for our clients. And I know I'm speaking to some very passionate tourism and hospitality students here today, and you might be wondering how all of this is relevant to you or not. But you know, the truth is, if you work with people, then you need to start thinking about how you're going to use technology and AI in your everyday work. You need to start placing an emphasis on learning about who these people are, especially because, you know, our digital self is slowly becoming more important. So what I like to tell my clients is that when we look at online data, it's not just the data that all these people you're studying create. It's also understanding what's the kind of data, what's the kind of content that they consume online, because this affects their taste, preference, behavior. Ultimately, what are some of the aspirations that your travelers might have? What are some of the traveling behaviors that your guests might exhibit? So it's very important for us to have a comprehensive view. And I do know that the travel industry by itself conventionally has a huge amount of data. You have transaction data, you have booking data, but really in order to stay ahead and know what your guests want, know what your customer wants, it is to go online and see what are they reading about, what are their friends posting about, and how is all of this motivating them. So at Quilt, we've done work with some very big travel brands, travel and hospitality brands, and some of the questions we answer really look. Some of the questions we answer with the kind of data that we use, which is online data, as well as the analytics toolkits that we've built. For example, travel trends. So, what are the top destinations that people want to go to? What are certain drawing points of each place? Why do they attract tourists? Popular activities that people like to do, the most popular flight routes, what time of day are people searching for these flight routes, and hotel bookings. What are some of the top hotels people want to go to? What are some top restaurant brands that really draws in all these guests? We also look at the kind of travel stories that engage travelers. We identify who are some of the organic and authentic travel influencers that brands can partner with, etc. And then all of this just flew past your head because you're like, oh, too many market research jargons. What I want to tell you today is just be open-minded and allow me to nerd out a little bit about AI for a few more minutes, because who knows, what I teach you about AI today could be handy at a dinner party. So at Quilt, we help people leverage AI in 3 ways, through diagnose, generate, and predict. And yes, generate like ChatGPT, except that at Quilt, we've built our own version of it called Quilt Create. So at the core of it, really, our AI studies data in different forms. We study data in the form of text, images, as well as videos. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit about how AI can do a lot of this. So over here, you see text AI. So our text model simply takes any text that you might fit into it, be it whether it is online data they've downloaded from our platform, or any text data like reviews of a particular airline company. And then what it does, it analyzes and identifies certain concepts within the text. Traditionally, AI has been, okay, let me see what are certain keywords that people use. And I am generating a lot of my insights from the keywords. For example, if keywords like angry, frustrated comes out within the review itself, I can tell that the sentiment of this person writing this text is negative. But AI has evolved such that it is sophisticated enough to understand concepts and meanings. So you may not necessarily need to write "I am angry" in your reviews. You can softly imply it. For example, oh, this experience was not how I imagined it to be. And then maybe with a certain angry emoji, even if you don't specify the keywords, the negative sentiment keyword, the AI is still able to pick up all these cues from the text itself. And more excitingly, recently we've been able to come up with an app that allows you to teach the AI what you want to look out for. So for example, I want the AI to look through this million rows of data and tell me, hey, I want reviews where consumers are excited, and excited looks like them, queuing up for tickets for either a theme park in Japan, or excitement looks like them, sharing certain attractions with their friends. As long as you define what you're looking for and you use it as a single sentence input into the AI, it has the ability to pick out the text for you. So in a way, text AI has gotten a lot sophisticated. Then we go to image AI, which is the AI model that analyzes, kind of dissect your image together. Over here, you do see some AI that can recognize top colors within the image, what are certain objects detected within the image. But at a deeper level, the AI is also able to understand what are certain emotions being communicated through the image. Traditionally, you would do this via keywords that you use in your text, but now we have the ability to read human expression and then have the AI decode what does this actually mean. And And to push it even further, because we work with so many countries, the AI also has been trained to recognize certain cultural concepts in the relevant country. So let's say I want to look for pictures that signify cleanliness in Japan versus pictures that signify cleanliness in America. I think in both images, it will definitely look a little bit different. And the AI do have the ability to pick out the nuances between different countries, different culture. And of course, we have video AI, which is pretty similar to image AI, the way that our video AI analyzes images. So namely, what the video AI does is that it identifies, the different cultural codes that is exhibited within the video from a frame by frame level. So similar to the example that I gave with identifying cleanliness in Japan versus cleanliness in America, we analyze emotions within the video as well as group video frames together based on patterns that the AI can recognize within it. So now that you managed to get through all this techy part about what AI is, really the more important question is, how is this relevant to the travel industry? So from a broader perspective, AI helps to digest an enormous amount of content, the scale of the internet, to give you a comprehensive picture about your travelers and what they want. So where can you find your traveler footprint? You can find it on TikTok, you can find it on TripAdvisor, you can find it even on Google when they make any Google searches. So when we have the ability to download those data as well as to analyze it at scale, it really gives us a very good idea about what your travelers need and want. And more recently, you need to leverage AI so that you don't get phased out by it. So what you see on screen right now is ChatGPT. I've asked ChatGPT to create a 3-day itinerary for Hanoi. So the fun fact is that I've tested the inputs, tried solo trip versus kid-friendly family trip. And interestingly, the output, the itinerary that ChatGPT gave me was different. So this means that the AI itself is not blindly spitting out results. It's not just doing a Google search and giving me the top 3-day itinerary it found on Google, but there is some amount of personalization to it. And then, in the latest screen, I think right about now, you see that I fine-tune it by asking it for more restaurant recommendations in the itinerary. Honestly, the results are pretty great, and I would encourage all of you to give it a try. So ChatGPT is free. You just need to log in with an email account. So try it out. And guess what? ChatGPT is nearly one of the hundreds of AI apps out there, and I'm sure thousands of AI apps are coming. They are all in the way. In fact, there have been so many travel-related AI apps that have been released in the past few months. So this is the last thought that I want to leave you. How can you start incorporating more of AI in the kind of work that you're doing so that AI becomes your partner rather than a competitor? Yeah, so that's all from me, a pretty short presentation. But if you are interested to learning a little bit more about consumable AI, or if you want to find out more about what we do, just scan the QR code and follow us on LinkedIn. Alternatively, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can find out more about Quilt.AI at our website, which is Quilt.AI. Yeah, so thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That was really short and sweet. And you mentioned about a lot of eye-opening technology that personally I wasn't aware of because I thought AI was all about text AI, but you mentioned about image and video AI, and it's really eye-opening. And I believe it was as well to our youth audience. So now I will invite everyone, all the guest speakers on stage for the panel discussion and live Q&A. So I do have some questions that came in from our audience. So the first question goes to Hani. So I think the question is, with new technology, people may get interested and want to visit your destination, Incheon, to try it out, but maybe they will only come for one time. So and I think I also agree that it is important to attract loyal visitors for tourism destinations. Can you give an answer to this question?
Okay. Actually, there are a few papers about the effects of technology in the tourism marketing. Like, for example, how we call it STT, smart tourism technology, how it affects the customer satisfaction, thereby it has a positive influence on the loyalty, revisit intention, we call this. But it's a official research result. And let me add my experience to that. I think it has two aspects. The first is just like the paper. If the technology makes you like convenient or enhance your experience, of course, it will elevate your satisfaction. So it will increase your loyalty naturally. But the second aspect is like, technically, you can collect the data from the applications, so which containing your personal preferences as well. So for marketing, you can like send push, or we call it alarm services, or send push to the specific person when the new tourism, how do you say it? When the new product came out, so that it can do like help you do personalized marketing, thereby give you more accurate preference. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. And personally, I liked how Michelle said technology is not your enemy. And
Yes.
also the question that I have is related, because the question is, how can businesses balance the usage of technology with the importance of personalized and human interaction in the travel experience? Maybe Hani, you can answer the question first, and then we can go in the order of the presentation, then Melvin, then Michelle.
Okay. I believe like technology cannot replace the tourism wholly, because of course technology can make your travel easier, smarter, but it cannot replace the like feelings, taste, or touch when a person is traveling. So that's a good news actually for us. Nonetheless, technology is important, and it will be used in many of the tourism services. Like AI will provide more sophisticated services in the future, and even make interactions like GPT. And it can certainly make easier and smarter form of travel. But as a tourism marketer, I come to think in different aspects. Like, is personalized services always good in tourism? Like, for example, when I travel, I enjoy the journey itself, not the final destination. So I enjoy like watching people, local shops, or maybe I like seeing the like stray cats on the streets. So that's the beauty of the tourism, I think. So my advice is like, technology has to be adopted in tourism, but as a marketer, think at a different angle and be creative. You know, technology cannot always be the right answer. So
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like having a different perception of technology in tourism, like thinking of it as an aid to better the experience of the tourism industry. Yeah, thank you so much. Melvin?
Sure. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Hani as well. Totally agree with what Hani especially mentioned. I mean, we look at technology. I mean, when you look at technology, right, it's the ability to actually to help to improve the efficiencies and also to make it easier and convenient for the customers. So hence, I mean, with that in mind, right, that should actually ensure that we constantly look at how we are able to revolutionize the travel technologies to be able to suit what the customers actually want. So hence, for our company, right, at Airalo, when you look at our site itself, the user interface and the user experience needs to be very direct, very straightforward and easy to understand, so that when customers want to make the purchase, it's very straightforward. They know what they are actually buying, and then it works, right? So then on the contrary side, right, then how do we actually fulfill in terms of the customer service? And that will be the human touch to it. So hence at Airalo, rather than using a chatbot to be able to service our customers, when we know that we have a new product and we really require a human touch. So that's where we actually invested a lot in terms of our customer service, basic user guides along the way to aid the customers so that they are able to then install the eSIMs. So that becomes a combination of the human touch, the travel experience, complements with the right usage of the technology in the future. And that's where you can actually bring the business forward to the next level.
Thank you so much, Melvin. Totally agree. Michelle, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, so I completely agree with what Melvin and Hani said too. So yes, we have technology and AI that's still becoming more prevalent in the tourism industry. But I mean, the the beauty of the travel industry is really through that human touch also. So, as I mentioned, it's about using AI as a helper, not so much as something that replaces you, but it can really facilitate the kind of job that you do. And I think this is also very similar to what Elsie asked as well. How do we push a destination to be on top of the AI recommendation? So the AI, at the end of the day, AI is being trained on human data. So you need some humans in order to capture the data and generate all this data for the AI to understand, okay, when it comes to a good customer service experience, what does it actually look like? And then in order for the AI to come up with strategy, the AI can only come up with strategy, but then you still need a team that executes this strategy, right? And it is the team that has to be at the last phase where it looks at what the AI suggests and decides through its own experience whether it is actually an appropriate or suitable example or not. So I know somebody in the chat also asked about ChatGPT and whether our text AI is the same as ChatGPT. So I know ChatGPT has been very hot these days, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's going to be a huge disruptor to our industry." But the thing about ChatGPT is that it's actually trained on data. The latest was 2020, if I'm not wrong. So this means that there's a whole time period of the entire COVID years where data is not captured. So how travel has changed during the COVID years? What are some of the certain innovations that have came up in the past few years? ChatGPT has no knowledge of that because the base code, because the training data doesn't capture for that. So then it is not, AI is powerful, but it's not as disruptive or it's not as scary. I would say that it's disruptive, but it's not as scary as how people think it will be. You still really need somebody who's an expert to hone it. So I think my recommendation also is that try and be the human expert that can guide the AI. AI won't be another version of you. The AI would be your intern, for example. It's just like somebody that helps you. It's the intern on your team. So you still need to know your stuff. You still need to know how to satisfy a customer. You still need to know what are the 5 things that you should put in the hotel room that really brings joy to really create that top experience. And then with regards to how do you push it then on the algorithm, that's a lot of SEO and a lot of marketing, the same kind of marketing strategies that people have been using, right? So how do you make sure you generate viral content? How do you make sure you're always at the top of Google pages? The AI can't do that for you, but the AI can help you create content as fast as possible that maybe allows you to execute that strategy to get you there. Yeah.
Thank you for that. As a person that tried using ChatGPT, when you actually try it for a moment, and if you try to search for information, they don't give you a whole lot of information. They can give you like the basic information, and you actually do have to analyze it, and you do have to get into depth, and you need personal touch when you use AI as a tool. So please don't worry, guys. And I'm really glad that Michelle brought this up because I think the worry is coming from the youth trying to have a place in the tourism industry, like planning for their future careers in the travel industry. And I think they are quite worried that the jobs and career opportunities are being replaced by technology, so giving them less place to be in the tourism industry. So maybe Michelle, would you like to continue on giving us like overview of like possible or like the latest trends of career opportunities regarding technology that technology actually brought to the tourism industry?
Yeah, I mean, based on the new AI apps that I've seen being introduced in the past 2 months, it really is a lot of, oh, here's how we can recreate a travel itinerary for you. Here's how we can facilitate booking for you. So even from a user point of view, AI is just simplifying the existing process that they have to do. So rather than going through a middleman, like a travel agent that helps them plan and organize their trip, they use AI and then make the entire process a lot easier. But if you are a travel agent or if you are somebody who wants to do the planning, why you not offer the service as somebody who's an expert in giving the AI the prompt? So that's what we've learned also at Quilt. Yes, we build the AI models, but when we actually talk to our clients about it, they do know of these models, and maybe they even have uh, some amount of these models themselves. But what they don't know, uh, what they don't know as well is really how to use it, how to optimize the model. I would say how do you optimize the input. And like you said, Nick, when you try ChatGPT, it takes some amount of fine tuning. So if you can reduce that friction of people trying to use I think that's the first one. And then the second one really is you can signal that you're using AI in your service. So service can never be replicated by AI. I think to an extent you need to know that when people or when a business use AI, the output is always a more generic mass market scaled up version. It will never be a customized just for you kind of experience. So even if when people come to you, really it is to place a greater emphasis on the fact that you have the experience in this area, you have been in this industry, and you have the hard skills it takes to detect even the anomalies in AI. And you try out ChatGPT, and know what I'm saying. After 5 inputs of okay, create an itinerary for me, you'll realize that ChatGPT is telling you the same stuff. Like it does generate very similar outputs towards the end of it. So, if you're not from the service side of the travel industry, if you want to think about how do you build better products for the travel industry, I think that's where the gap is too. Um, Even though there are travel apps that have been created and released over the past few months, I think these apps are built largely by people with not that much on the ground experience. They're just building off what ChatGPT can do. But if you can come in with your own experience and be like, hey, there's a need that I'm seeing in either the restaurant sector or in the hospitality sector, then why not you be the one that actually customize what ChatGPT can do? So, fun fact, at a lot of the AI models that we create at Quill have all been built on existing AI models. So ChatGPT is built on GPT-3. It's an open AI source, and our text AI runs off of it. But we found ways to customize it so that it's a bit more relevant to the beauty industry, or include some amount of training data to make it more relevant to the travel industry. So in the same way, you can also create apps that are a lot more relevant to the travel industry. So I think that's the second thing. And then the third one is just to work with very big brands, because a lot of these brands do require, I mean, very big brands as in your financial institutions, your government, travel organizations. There will always be spaces for you, I'm sure, where you can give your input as experts. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing. So we have one last question in the queue. So it's for Melvin. So Melvin, at Airalo, when there are customers, can you track which countries the users are from, and can this data be shared with tourism boards, or do you work with other tourism boards, if ever?
Right. So my direct answer to you to this question is yes. Just like an airline company, just like in a hotel, when a user actually sign up an account, we know where the user is from, what are the information. Then we will also know where the person is traveling or buying the eSIM, right? And based on the destination that he's buying. But of course, in terms of sharing the data, there's another whole different question, right? It's all about PDPA, security, and data sharing. So for us, we do a very, very strict compliance for that data protection. So hence, generally, we do not share any of such data with anyone. But of course, on the other side, right, when we look at partnerships, we are always open to all the different kinds of partnerships as a business. For example, we work with MasterCard in Israel, where we actually launch different kind of promotions. We work with the online travel agents to then communicate and distribute the eSIMs. We work with the airports, those traditional SIM card shops, right? We actually resell these products to them. We also work with what we call it mobile network operators, MNO, or the MVNOs, mobile virtual network operators, that is promoting the new eSIM. We work with associations, corporates. You can imagine corporates actually have a lot of requirement for the savings of the roaming fees. So for us, partnerships is very, very wide. And the idea is to be able to see how we can actually introduce this new product and get more people to embark on this journey, which will become even bigger in the near future, right? And then be able to adopt it all together in that sense.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much to our guest speakers for all these insights and great presentations from all of you guys. So if you guys have further questions, please send it to our email, and I'll try my best to reach out to these guest speakers and try to get the answers to you with the post-event communications. So thank you to all the speakers. Jerry, can you bring back the screen? Thank you. So before we end, I would like to just make a quick announcement about Para Youth and membership. So Para Youth membership has been made affordable. So now it's at $20 per year, and you can gain knowledge with full access to webinars such as the webinar that we have today. And we do monthly webinars, so please stay tuned and build your professional network with our networking sessions. And most importantly, I know that this was in the question in chat as well. I know that certificate of participation and attendance is quite important for youth for such webinars and workshops. And the certificates will be given for all Para Youth events and all Para events that our youth members join. And it will be offered to Para Youth members only. So you might want to consider joining Para Youth membership. So I'll put this in the chat as well. There you go. And next slide, please, Jerry. I have an exciting news for everyone. So Para Youth Symposium is finally back in person. So we'll be having in-person Para Youth Symposium after about 3-4 years of wait. So I hope everyone's excited. And for those who are interested to join, either scan the QR code on screen, or you can visit Para's official website for more information. And most importantly, we have special pricing for youth to join this event. So for Para Youth members, which is $20 per year for students, Para Youth members can join the main conference and youth symposium at $40, $40 US. For students who are not members, you guys can also get special pricings as well. You can join at the price of $59 US, and the discount code is sorry, can you go back to the previous slide, Jerry? Sorry. The discount code, previous slide, please. Thank you. The discount code for non-members is students 59, and for Para Youth members, please approach Para Youth for the discount codes to be released. So next slide, please. Once again, the webinar is brought to you in collaboration with Higher Colleges of Technology, LPU Manila, and University of Queensland. So thank you so much to dear audiences for attending this webinar, and special thanks to our guest speakers again for the presentations and insights. So if you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact Para Youth team through email at ytp@para.org. You can reach out to me personally to nick.c@para.org. So have a great one, everyone. Thank you for coming.